The following is the first part of a 5-part series of reflections on the subject of prayer. People often ask the question of those of us who serve as priests that Peter asked Jesus one day, "Lord, teach us how to pray." Many times we think that there is a very simple answer to that question. Oh, just say these words, or just read these prayers, or simply open the scriptures and read these psalms. And prayer will just automatically happen. My reflections to you are not the reflections of a theologian, but I would like to share the reflections of a pastor and of a person who also seeks to be in relationship with God through prayer. I would like to take just one small second and reflect with you something from the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Now, this little wonderful work, the Catechism of the Catholic Church, doesn't have many pictures. It can be a bit awesome when we try to read it and very overwhelming. So let me just introduce you to part 4 of the Catechism called Christian Prayer. And we read from the Catechism the following: "The Church professes this mystery, the mystery of God's love for us and for the world, revealed in his Son, Jesus Christ, and the sending forth of his Holy Spirit. We profess this mystery in the Apostles' Creed. We celebrate that mystery in the sacraments of the Church, so that the life of the faithful may be conformed to Christ in the Holy Spirit and to the glory of God the Father. This mystery then requires that the faithful believe in it, that they celebrate it, that they live it from a vital and personal relationship with the living and true God. This relationship is prayer. Our relationship to God is our prayer." Now, I'm not going to spend a great deal of time quoting a whole lot of wonderful teachers on prayer, and there are many, and I would certainly encourage you to continue your development in prayer by turning to some of those great teachers. But I would like to begin by giving you an example. Suppose a young person came to me and said, "Father, could you teach me how to become a great hitter? I love baseball, and I'd like to be a 360 hitter, have that kind of reputation. I can stand up and face any pitcher, and I can compete." Now, suppose I took that young person and I said, "Oh, I love your interest. I love your desire. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into a library, and we're going to start reading one book after another about some man or some woman who was a great, great baseball player and who had a great average, maybe even coming close to 360. I would hope that that young person, as we began to wander around the library, would start to raise his voice or her voice and say, "But I want to learn how to bat." You see, if that young person wants to learn how to become a great batter and face all the great pitchers in the world, they have to go to a baseball field, and they have to stand at the diamond, and they have to start hitting. Now, experts can help this young person grow in their ability to swing the bat. They can start off by helping them make eye contact with the ball, making sure that they see the ball and the bat, tossing little lobs towards the child so that the child can see this is what you have to do to hit a ball. Now, if all the person ever did was throw a little bit of simple pitches, that little person would begin to be very confident and think, oh, I'm a great hitter. Right. Until they meet a curveball or a slider or a 103-mile-an-hour fastball. That young person would say, well, that's not fair. That's too hard. Well, didn't you want to become a great batter? If that's going to be the case, then what you have to do is you have to face all kinds of pitches. And you have to learn things about your own body, about nutrition, about exercise. And in doing so, you eventually reach a point where after you practice and practice, you no longer think about hitting. You step up to the plate, you use all your cunning and wiles, and you face that pitcher, and you know that your bat is going to make contact with the ball. Well, sometimes it does make contact with the ball, but guess what? There are other people on the field. Those other people on the field are out there going, but I can catch your ball. Oh, I have to learn how to even be more clever and know where to place the ball. Sure, we all like to hit home runs, but that just doesn't happen every time. And so we have to begin to be much more strategic. So as I begin this series of reflections on prayer, I would like to say to you what I would have said to that young child. We are not going to go to a library and start reading books about prayer. We are simply going to become people who do what we do naturally, but do it in the context of a relationship with God. You pray already. Now your prayer may be simple. God help me. Could be, God save me. It could be, God, where are you? Seems like things are falling apart and I just don't find you in my life. God, why don't you answer my prayer? Well, like the young child learning how to become a great batter in baseball, we too face the complexity of our ordinary world. But sometimes we approach prayer as we approach our faith. It's simply enough to be formed in my faith by going to a confirmation class when I'm in 3rd grade, or maybe 5th grade, or maybe 8th grade, or even as an adult. If I wish to be someone who is great at prayer, I have to continually grow in my understanding about prayer. So in this very first presentation, what I would like you to focus on is a word. This simple word is attend. Pay attention. In the Catechism of the Catholic Church, once more, there is this wonderful little quote from Therese of Lisieux. For me, prayer is a surge of the heart. It is a simple look turned toward heaven. It is a cry of recognition and of love, embracing both trial and joy. We just celebrated the feast of Saint Therese. And listen to what she says again. It is a surge of the heart. It is a look turned toward heaven. Well, where's heaven? Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is in your midst. When you see mercy, when you see kindness, when you see patience, when you see forgiveness, you are in the presence of heaven. Are you looking? Prayer can't simply begin with me thinking about, but I need, I want, I wish I could have. Prayer is a surge of the heart, a looking towards another. And so this very first reflection on prayer is an invitation to you to begin to attend or pay attention to the world in which you live. What do you see? There's a wonderful little Christian song these days that one can hear on Christian radio. It's called Evidence. It is written and sung by Josh Baldwin. And here's what this young man sings in his song. All throughout my history. Well, he's paying attention to what's happened to him in his life. All throughout my history, your faithfulness has walked beside me. Do you see what he's already captured? He is aware of another, someone who has walked beside him. All throughout my history, your faithfulness has walked beside me. The winter storms made way for spring. In every season, from where I'm standing, I see the evidence of your goodness. I see the evidence of your goodness. How about you? Where have you seen the evidence of the goodness of God, the world in which you live? We have these amazing eyes, and they're connected to a brain that allows us to process information. It is the wonderful season of fall, and I walk outside and I look at the changing color of the leaves, and I say to myself, this is awesome. Red, yellow, green, and all shades in between. And I can see it, and I know I am seeing what is there. All kinds of wonderful shapes. Now, mind you, as I'm looking around in this beautiful fall season, I sometimes also click in up here, oh, those leaves are going to fall to the ground. And now it will be my responsibility to rake them up. Rats. No. My raking leaves is also a participation in caring for this world. It is a simple, ordinary action. Am I paying attention? Am I awake? Raking the leaves, cleaning a sidewalk, picking up trash. All these are opportunities for me to say, good God, what a world you have made. And you have given me this world, placed it in my hands. Help me give you honor as I behold and as I do this task of raking the leaves, not with drudgery, not with regret, but a joy in taking care of this world. What do you see? What do you hear? For those of us who are very aware that as we age, some of our hearing is a little bit, less functional. Hearing is a remarkable gift. I'll never forget walking along one day, and I was walking across the street from a young mother and her child. The child was maybe 2.5, 3 years of age. And the little child's walk was more of a mini run. And everything was wonder. This little child could spot an earthworm on, Mom, look at this. Or a leaf, or a caterpillar, or everything around. Mom, Mom. And this little child's voice was filled with laughter. I was walking, thinking my own thoughts and kind of lost in either something I had to do or finishing up the walk I was taking. And I was filled with joy because of the laughter of a little child. And it was a moment when I could stop and say, God, what a wonder. I have heard the sounds of mothers and children and fathers and people at play and people who are in sorrow and sadness. I hear the sounds of the world that you have created. What are you hearing? And touch. These hands are utterly amazing. We can touch the world and we can feel all kinds of textures. Many times our hands are just functional. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do this. But if you touch something soft, you touch another human being. You're in touch with life itself. Oh my goodness, what a privilege. Today we are robbed a little of that privilege with periods of social isolation. And it's not possible to reach out and simply touch the hand of another. But how many times have you done that throughout your life? And how many times have you said, I am touching the very heartbeat of God himself in the creation that God gave to me in the life of this very person. Our Christian songwriter, Josh Baldwin, simply invited us to pay attention. All throughout my history, he says, I see the evidence of your life. You have accompanied me in every season. If you want to grow in prayer, I would simply like to invite you this week to do nothing more than just pay attention. What do you see? What do you touch? What do you hear? What do you have the privilege of tasting as food enters your mouth? And in every one of those moments, know you have touched the heart of God, who created everything and gave it over to you. And when you encounter and you touch and taste and hear and see the wonders that God has created, there is a surge of the heart, as Saint Therese says, a surge of the heart. Oh God, you're awesome. You're amazing. You are wondrous in bestowing upon me the gift of life itself. Prayer simply begins when we show up to life, when we show up to bat. We want to pray. Well, look around. What do you see? What do you touch? What do you hear? And if anything moves you, take that moment and give thanks to God. And know that you have begun the journey into prayer.